Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
So I think everybody knows me, I'm Bill Mintz. First thing I'm going to do is thank the congregation. We started here 11 years ago. Um, and for all 11 years, Christ the King has supported us with time, talent, treasure, and prayers. And we are extremely grateful for that. And I like to start with a question. I want people to think or just thought the first time you rode a bike. And I will tell you that the feeling for me was exhilaration and freedom. It was the freedom to go see my pals a few blocks away. I was no longer limited. Mom didn't say, don't only go to the end of the block. I could go see my friends. I could ride to school. Well, if you think about being in Houston and not having a car, you're kind of stuck too. And the people we give bikes to, when we get to work, to get to school, to get to the store, and to enjoy the community. And we've given bikes to, we've given bikes to 584 people this year and 4,000 since we started this project in that parking lot on October 31st, 2015. And it's people like Michael, who we met a few months ago, who needed a bike to get to the bus, to get to a gifted and talented program at a new middle school. His parents just, they had other kids to get somewhere and they had to get ready for work. He was helping the family. Veterans like Joy, who we tried to recover from back injuries she suffered in combat. And I gives her a way of therapy, a way of spending time with her daughter. Refugees, the scene is going to talk about that. So the program today, I'm going to talk for a few minutes. I'm going to turn it over to Bill Chapman, who is just a real star at Freewheels. He's our shop manager who's really organized our processes. Bud, do you want to say anything? Okay, Bud, who's a really good mechanic on Friday mornings. Kirsten, who's a great advocate, volunteer for both refugees and bicycling. And then she's going to introduce Sina, who rides one of our bikes. So that's kind of the order of that. I'm going to give you our elevator pitch. One of our neighbors gives us a bike, 2 volunteers clean it and repair it, and the community provides $50 that pays for cleaning supplies, parts, tires, tubes, chains, cables, and a new helmet, a new lock, and lights on the bike for every bicycle we give away. Like I said, 4,000 since we started. People have really, since we are the mission offering, I will tell you that people have really been responding to our appeals. We're trying to tell more stories about people like Michael and Joy and Hasina and her family. Got her family on bikes. And so things are going really well. And, we started as a ministry of this church. We're still a ministry of this church. We're legally organized as a 501c3, but we're still grounded in welcoming the stranger. You know, we started by helping refugees. We moved on to helping veterans emerging from homelessness. Now we help other people that are emerging from homelessness, and we help young people, 5th and 6th graders in A-League. We give them bikes. Their teachers and the staff at the schools at A-Leaf identify kids that have perfect attendance, whose grades are improving, whose behavior is improving. So, you know, we feel really good about the people we give bikes to. And, you know, Houston, there are a lot of people who think bicyclists are just kind of an obstruction, but there are people in this town who don't have an F-150, don't have a vehicle, need to get someplace, and the bus doesn't always get them where they need to go in the right amount of time. And that's who we help. And we've built a community, Freewheels. We had 400 different people volunteer last year. A lot of them were high school kids doing service hours and their mothers. But we had corporate groups, we had customers, we had some of the guys from Star of Hope who've come, or some of the veterans have come and they've stayed. So, you know, we've got a good count. So that's kind of my overview and introduction. I'm going to ask Bill Chapman to talk a little bit about what brought him to Freewheels and about the magic that happens on Friday and Saturday morning. Good morning. I've talked to you guys before, so I don't want to go into a bunch about myself. I'm kind of like a lot of them. I worked hard my whole life to gather things, to get things, you know, so to build a career and a life for my family. And you get to that point where you realize that you've had enough of that. You want to start giving back. And so we're in that give back period of life. And I was on the verge of retiring in 20. And I didn't really know Bill that well. I'd heard about Freewheels in church. I've been going to church for a while here. And so I thought I was looking to what would I do once I retired, because I'm not a good stay-at-home person. And I thought I would volunteer and see what it's like. So I went and I went through the first routine was to tear a bike apart and do that. And I'd done a lot of that as a kid. We used to tear everything apart and try to put it back together. But the notion of this, the mission really began to sink into me as to what we were trying to do with what we were doing. And it made a lot of sense to me. And Bill didn't labor on it. He talked about the, you know, the value to the people who don't have the privileges we have. And like the trucks and the cars and the ways to get around. So it made sense because I like being outdoors. I like engaging people, and I always recognized in my work how important the people that you work with are in terms of what they offer and bring. Because
I will guarantee, most jobs I was in, I had no idea what I was doing. And if it wasn't for being able to count on the people around me, I wouldn't have been successful as I was. But and it's kind of, nothing's different. They call me mid shop manager, but that's, you know, I still think it should be senior vice president, but you know, he keeps saying, "Well, come with your next raise," but okay, we'll wait for that. But I guess I don't want to harp on it because I can't harp on this for a long time, but I'm doing it, and I'm doing it with people who just purely enjoy volunteering, and they have volunteers' hearts, and that's what I really noticed, the contrast between work and what we call the real world and the volunteer world. Folks come wanting to do the good things, have fun, work hard, and try to help us reach our mission. So it's a joy to do that for me. Not dealing with, you know, angry folks who have bring everything from home with them and deal with it in work. And it's a blessing for me. So, and as a result of that, I said I'd do it. And then one day he said, "Would you like to be a shop manager?" And that was during COVID, and I did see some potential for change. So I'm actually, we used to call them change man. No, I'm a changer. I like to find ways to make things work better. And one of the things that we tried to do with the changes we've made is to make a Freewheels a place where anybody can come and contribute. The original setup allowed for some of that, but it was really focused on fixing the bike, and we've made it so that, you know, you don't have to know anything about anything, and we get quite a few of those people. So it provides a challenge, but it also, they learn something every time they come, and they contribute to what it is we're trying to do. So that for me is the real plus of this whole thing is the folks that we have volunteering. And we do produce some bikes. We're flipping along now. We're at a pace towards 1,000 bikes this year to distribute to our customers. We do other distributions. We do sell a few bikes, and so it isn't completely. That's excess for us. It's bikes we can't use that we can sell, make some money, and buy parts and things like that. So it isn't going to us, unfortunately. No. So anyway, we're pays for 1,000. We do about 500 to 600 hours volunteer contribution each month, depending on the number of weeks in the month. And we do about 80 unique volunteers a month, means that they work at least one shift a month. So there's on average 80 people who work at least one shift. So, and the average shift is 3 hours. So if you do the math, you'll see there's quite a bit of excess between the 80 times 3 versus the 550 that we average. So that means that there's a lot of people contributing more than 3 hours a month. A lot of people are coming 2 days a week, in addition to their, most people do 3 hours, but 20% do quite a bit more. So we'd like to keep growing that. as we grow, and we keep working towards that. I guess from a operations standpoint, do you guys have any questions about it? I mean, it's pretty straightforward and simple. Like I said, if you come, you'll learn something. I encourage you to, if you can't do it, to encourage friends and others to come, because it is a worthwhile morning, and they always seem to enjoy it. It is I know it's the loaves and fishes week in church, and Bill, I don't know if you mentioned it, but did you mention the 4,000 one?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're getting close. We're going towards the 5,000. We wanted to get there before this Sunday, but we're not going to make it. But we will eventually get there.
This Sunday next year.
Yeah, that would be a nice challenge. Okay, need you, Lucky. We need you.
Yeah.
We would do that. So that's really all. That's good.
Thank you. Bye.
So as Bill said, I'm one of the guys who fixes up the bikes in the shop after the so-called preppers have cleaned all the dirt, grime, and the like off of the bicycles. And I read an article a couple of weeks ago about Christian charity that put this in perspective for me. It gave me some clarity as to what this is all about. You know how many causes, good or otherwise, want you to send them money so you'll feel good? Well, that's really not the point of charity. Rather, it's to do the right thing, to a sense of duty, something we should be doing. And you know, that clarified for me why I get satisfaction out of doing this. It's not to feel good, it's to help. Well, it's easy to draw that satisfaction from helping the little kids, you know, expand their worldview. And it's easy to get satisfaction from helping the veterans who've done so much for us and, you know, given us the freedom, maintained the freedom that we have. It's not quite so easy to satisfy necessarily for people who come from halfway around the world, a different culture, a different religion that may not mesh perfectly with Western civilization. But it's important to remember that Jesus didn't just hang out with his buddies. He ate with the sinners and the tax collectors because we're all children of God. And that's helpful in my understanding of why everybody that's helped by Freewheels is important. I'd like to conclude, I'm not done, but I'd like to conclude with a case study, if you will. It's a lady named Keisha. She's a nurse's aide. Now, some of you know that Pastor Peterman is living at home. His daughter Greta is living here in Houston to take care of him, but he needs attention 24 hours a day. And Greta's got to go to the grocery store and things like that. So Keisha comes for several hours a day to help take care of him and keep him company. And she's just a wonderful person. She is so nice. She brings joy to his life. He lights up when she arrives. But she's not well off. She had a full-time job at one of the old folks' homes nearby, but she was just helping the Petermans as a side gig. But then the old folks' home got bought out by some conglomerate that got rid of everybody and brought in their own people. And so now all she's got is taking care of Pastor Peterman for several hours a day. and she doesn't have a car. She walks 15 minutes to the grocery store and back. To get to the bus stop is a 10-minute walk from where she lives, and it's warm in Houston right now. So she takes Uber and Lyft, and that gobbles up a fair amount of her income. So Freewheels learned about this and found her a bicycle, and you wouldn't believe how happy that made her. It just, like the joy she brings to Pastor Peterman, that bicycle brought joy to her. She's got, she gets out early in the morning to get some exercise. As soon as things cool off enough that she won't arrive at the Petermans all sweaty, she's got a route worked out so that she can ride through the neighborhoods and not take her life into her hands on hold. So that's my story, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Oh, nice story. Thank you. Here's. Oh.
Good morning, my name is Kirsten. I'm here, I love Freewheels. It is truly a magical place. I found Freewheels on Volunteer Houston. I am a bicycle commuter. I have worked in refugee resettlement, and service is one of my core values, and Freewheels just brings all of that together in one place. And I've been volunteering for a couple of years and have done a lot of the actual distribution of bicycles with clients that have worked or have been clients that I've worked with at our agency, and also in the shop. And with the Ride with Refugees, opened up a pathway to the Afghan Women's Bicycle Team. And it's just a really incredible thing to put a person on a bicycle and watch their world change in front of your eyes. So that's really, I'm here mostly to introduce my wonderful friend Hasina. She was a client of the Houston Multicultural Center where I worked previously. And then she was like a full-time volunteer for us, and she became a full-time staff member. And she is just a remarkable young woman who is case manager at Catholic Charities now. And I'm gonna let her tell you her story. That she's outstanding. Come on, Hasina.
Can I just say one more thing about Kirsten? A year or so ago, our treasurer, Audrey, who's retired at the CPA, who just really got us organized, told me that it's been 3 years, it's time for her to do something else. And I was telling Kirsten this, and she said, "Oh, I'll try that." So she worked with Audrey and learned QuickBooks Online. And now, I've told her it's in her books. She's doing a great job.
Imagine moving to a new place where you don't know a single person and you don't understand the system. The only thing you're certain of is that you're going to Houston, Texas. That's when a single act of kindness can change everything. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hasina, and I'm originally from Afghanistan. 2 years ago, I came to United States with my family to begin a new chapter of our lives. Like many other newcomers with hope, but uncertainty. At the beginning, everything was unfamiliar. We didn't know many people, we didn't understand the transportation system, and we didn't have a car. For the first month, I spent most of my time at home because I didn't know how to get around. Even simple things like going to buy groceries was felt like a big challenge. Then we learned about Freewheels, an organization that giving free bikes to refugees and immigrants. And my brother got his bicycle. Seeing him getting more independent gave me hope. But I had one problem. I didn't know how to ride a bicycle. It was around the same time that I started to volunteer with the Refugee Resettlement Organization, which helped resettle my family. It was ACDC HNC. Slowly through volunteering, I learned how to use public transportation. I met new people, including Kirsten, and I started to navigate my community. One day, Kirsten told me if I want a bicycle from Freewheels. And I said, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. She told me, I will teach you. I was super excited. Soon, she introduced me with Ride with Refugees and Afghan Women's Bike Team. For 6 weeks, we met once a week to practice. At the beginning, I was nervous. I fell and I lost my balance. I wondered whether am I gonna learn or not. But soon, not only I was riding, but I was helping other women to ride. By the end of the program, 8 Afghan women and I learned how to ride bicycle, and we received bicycles. We were not only learning a skill, we were building confidence, supporting each other, and finding a new sense of belonging and freedom. For me, my bicycle is more than a way of transportation. It represents freedom, friendship, confidence, and health. It helped me navigate my community. 2 years later, I'm proud that I'm a case manager supporting refugee families, studying social work in the college, and continue to serve my community. For me, bicycle is not only a way of getting around, it helped me believe in myself, and it reminded me when someone believes in you and gives you a small opportunity, it can change your life. Thank you, Freewheels, Ride with Refugees, Afghan Women Bike Team, and everybody who make this programs possible, including Kirsten. You didn't only give me a bike, you gave me freedom, confidence, and independence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Messina, and thank you all of you folks for kind of giving us a window into the community that we've built at Freewheels. We have partners like the Houston Multicultural Center, like Catholic Charities, like the Afghan Women's Bike Team, Ride with Refugees, Amana, which is philanthropy in the Muslim community that is doing exemplary work helping people. It's it's great. We work with the AIM schools. Our partnerships really make the difference, help us find people who need bikes. And it's really good. It's really a pleasant, magical experience. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the business of Freewheels. We're all volunteers. Our biggest expense is the rent. We have 3,400 square feet in 3 units in a complex, a warehouse complex in Dalton. Our rent goes up every year. And then we have the variable costs of the costs that are related to the volume of bikes we handle. And I mean, it's a joy to ask people for money to pay for helmets and lungs and lights. I mean, it's a great thing. People come to drop off bikes. They stay to repair bikes. They tell their neighbors who bring bikes. It's a great community, and it's really what makes, and it all started here, and it's what makes our congregation a great community, and it makes Houston a good place. So I hope people have some questions. Yeah.
continually find new spots.
Well, listen, if you Google. Where can I donate a bike near me? We are at the top of the search results. We get bikes every Friday and Saturday. We got, how many did we get this weekend?
Well,
What, 12?
we got 15 on Saturday. And 2 on Friday. I thought we had a simply great weekend. We're gonna get 2. 15 showed up at 11:50 on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Bill and Trish. Have built this great system for tracking the bikes, but they put in a lot of work. Getting bikes into the system and keeping track of it. And then after a bike, this is the process. Bike comes in, it gets logged into the inventory system. It gets, the preppers work on it, and we've got a checklist. There's academic research that says people are more likely to value and take care of something used if it's clean and in good shape. And that's that's what the preppers work on. Bill says they're the first impression. And then we have another, after they finished and they fix the flats, and some of them now have a true wheels, very important thing, to straighten the wheels. It goes over to the mechanic shop, which is where Bud and a growing number of people work. We have a second page of the checklist, and they go through every bike system. And they're responsible for recording everything that they've done on the bike. But that's not it. We have a quality system where the final check system where somebody else, one of our experienced volunteer mechanics, goes through and makes sure everything really did get done. And when that's over, we put a little green sticker on it, which indicates it's ready, and it goes over to unit 102. And we have a form on our website to request a bike, and that's another app, another database that Trish Chapman maintains. And we have a volunteer, Diane Zomper, who don't get in Diane's way when she's looking for bikes to give people to, you know, she gives, it's just in time system. She comes in on Wednesday and looks at the bikes that are ready to give away and gives every one of them, makes appointments with people on our list to come get them. And if somebody shows up and we don't have the right size bike, she walks over to the mechanic shop and says, finish that one. And it's a great system. It's a great community. That was, I have to tell you, kind of a missing link, having someone paying that attention to the distribution. I remember one time.
She trained first as well.
Yeah, she's doing it. Yeah, Diane's going up north for August to see her children and grandchildren, and Kirsten's stepping in to help with the distribution system. It's, you know, it's great. We give them, like I said, we give them a bike that fits. We let them take a test drive, adjust the seat if that's necessary. And then we give them a helmet and lock and tell them they only get one bike. You know, because we got enough people waiting, we can't give 2 bikes to the same person because one got stolen. So,
You got other questions here.
yep, yes, sir.
No, how do you publicize what you do so that people know about Freewheels?
Well, we're on the internet. We have a little bit of a little bit of social media. Like I said, if you Google, where can I donate a bike? We're on Volunteer Houston. Volunteer Houston is really it's our biggest social media channel. There are 140,000 people who have registered for this database of volunteer opportunities. It's managed by Interfaith Ministries. And my sense is people don't go looking for bicycle volunteering opportunities. But when they see it, they say, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And they come, and that's how we get a lot of people. That's how we get a lot of the mechanics. Our mechanics, we got a lot of retired IT people, we got retired operations people, we've got geologists and engineers and finance people. And we, a lot of them just looking for something to do. A lot of people, 140,000 people, a lot of people in Houston are looking for ways to give back, and we give them.
How about on the other end, people who are looking for a bike,
We have a network of case managers and resettlement agencies and Star of Hope, Search, VA, US Vets, Wounded Warrior Project, and Elite Schools. And we have a form. We have a button. We have two buttons on the front page of our website. One is donate, and the other one is to request a bike. And if somebody calls or sends a text or shows up, we say you got to start by filling in the form because we got a waiting list. It's just in time. We give away every bike we've got that's ready.
The other thing too is that, I believe there's a lot of word of mouth, particularly within the refugees. Because they live in seeing herds, and once somebody gets one, people are curious of where they get the light. Hey, John, right? We've had a lot of that for years.
Yes, sir.
Are you, seeing or protesting a significant number of electric bikes?
No. Number one, I have two observations about electric bikes. One is we don't know. We're not experts in fixing them. And the ones we get are not generally in great shape. The other thing is a battery is expensive. And, the likelihood of one of our customers having the money to do that. And the third thing is they're really heavy, and taking it up to your second floor garden apartment in Belton is going to be a challenge. So just a week or so ago, we got a nice one, and it came with a battery. It was this guy said he bought it 3 years ago, rode it a lot, liked it, but he's moving out of town and figured, oh, I'll just buy another one when I get to Columbus, Ohio. And yesterday I met someone who started an organization called Wellness on Wheels. He's a social worker at Milby High School. And he also organized, and helps the kids there who have a variety of social and behavioral issues. He also organizes social rides, and he says, oh, there's this older woman who wants to ride, and I think an e-bike would be good. So I'm trying to figure out, we're gonna try to turn this e-bike, nice e-bike, over to Renee for Wellness on Wheels. And so that's kind of the outcome on e-bikes. Yes,
How unique is Freewheels in Houston and, you know, elsewhere in the state?
you know, there are a variety of, community bike projects. Austin's Yellow Bike Project is probably the biggest one in, that I'm aware of in Texas. But they don't do as much of what we do, of just giving bikes to people. They're more of a community repair shop. Where people come and work on their own bikes. I mean, there's some like smaller organizations in Houston that work on getting butts and saddles. But not a lot. So we're pretty unique, and I don't know of another one that has the kind of volume that we have and the number of volunteers involved.
And we take everything. So, somebody comes with a scooter, somebody comes with whatever they got, most people won't take, we take it. And we have avenues to get rid of those in a way that they're still used, or they're put to, turned into recycled metals or whatever. We'll take everything we got, and we take the barriers, the cheap monsters, things like this. But people take them, and we find ways to distribute those.
We also get an occasional high-end bike. Somebody last year brought us two Santa Cruz mountain bikes. And they're really nice. And we made $4,500 selling two bikes. Because I think that was the best outcome for those particular bikes. Our riders don't want road bikes. So generally we sell road bikes. We'll steel 10-speed, we'll sell it for $20, but somebody will take it, we'll buy it. And that's as much as, depending on the year, as much as say 5 or 6% of our revenue. Because we're all volunteer, we do a whole lot, not a lot, huge amount of money. Our whole budget is about $125,000.
What's your sales channel for those bikes?
We have some volunteers that are good, have good networks or know how to use the Facebook Marketplace system.
Your channel is resellers?
What?
Your channel is resellers?
Yeah, yeah, it is. But, if we've got 15 steel road bikes, if one guy's gonna come and give us the price that 15 people would do, we're okay with that. Yes.
I grew up in a country where everybody got Netherlands. And as children in grammar school, the policeman showed us how to ride around the town. We had to do it at least 6 hours. Because to navigate traffic, if you have never really ridden a bike in traffic, it's very difficult. So do you do any teaching of the ones who you get the bikes?
Not a lot.
Good.
I mean, the thing is, this is when I read or listen to discussions at City Hall about bikes on Houston streets. They don't ever talk about the people we could vice. They think the only people on a bike are, and this is one of my favorite little terms, mammal, middle-aged men in lycra. And there are, I mean, in Gulfton, I once read that 15% of the travel trips are walking or biking. In the whole citywide, it's 5%. So there are more people. And these are people who don't have options. They don't, they may live a mile or two from the useful bus line. And they still need to get to work. There are employers who will say, lots of employers are willing to hire refugees and veterans, but they'll say, okay, how are you gonna get to work on time? And, I think, we as a community and a transportation system should accommodate that. To me, the answer to bikes are dangerous is more bikes. So. Anybody else? Thank you very much. Like I said,
Bill, let me share one thing on my, full disclosure, everybody else. I've had a lot of conversations with Bill about figuring out how to retire well, because I think he's doing a great job of it. And, I now run in circles, a lot of people your age and older, who are like, well, I'm gonna retire as soon as I figure out how to, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do or whatever. And I always tell her a story, like, sometimes you just gotta make it, like, you'll find it, you've got resources, And so I just, Bill was saying, it's just amazing to watch you guys do what you do and find a purpose and perhaps even a bigger purpose in retirement than you might have had before.
this is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I mean, I worked for 40 years. I was never without a job. I got a paycheck, never worked for myself. And, I started this, I had no idea what it was gonna be. I talked to my friends at Bike Houston when we were starting, and I said, I want to give it a name so that it takes off. We didn't want to call it Bikes for Refugees. And, a freewheel, told members of this congregation and everybody, when we talk about freewheels, I'm not talking about free stuff. We're talking about freedom. A freewheel is the part in the rear hub of a bike that lets you coast. If you remember when you first had a tricycle or a big wheel, the only way to stop pedaling was to take your feet off the pedals. Big development in the evolution of bicycles was the invention in 1879 of the freewheel that lets people coast. But it made bikes more important. And, for a while before the widespread availability of automobiles, bikes were a huge thing. Susan B. Anthony said they were the best thing that ever happened for the freedom of women. That's, I'm pretty passionate about bikes. Yes, ma'am.
Well, when you're talking about all of your system of cleaning and maintaining, and my mind, gee, I'd like to take my bike. Would that actually be a spin-off for a proper donation? And if you take it to a shop, I don't know what it costs.
What?
Well, I'd be happy to pay you all to fix, clean it and maintain it. Is that a consideration, or is that you just don't have the manpower?
I don't know that we will ever have the time or the manpower to do that. We have a waiting list. So if the choice is fixing a bike for somebody who needs to get to work, or somebody else, we're gonna fix a bike so that somebody's gonna get to work or school. People. Yeah, I mean, I would love for us to get to that point, but, you know, we get this, the community has been very, has been very supportive financially. We just, I don't know, people who get our emails, we just finished this appeal where somebody gave us $5,000 and said, and which is 100 bikes, and said, let's see if we can get the community to fund 100 more. Well, we funded 200. So the community from a financial perspective has been extremely generous and has allowed us to keep going. And then we watch every penny. We're all volunteers. We use, you know, I always see Bud back there looking for shifters, used shifters that, you know, sometimes we get a bike and it's gonna cost a lot. You're gonna have to replace both tires and both tubes and the chain. And, you know, that's not from a time or financial perspective, something we want to do. But we'll put a prepper to work taking the parts off. And we'll use the shifters or derailleurs on a different bike.
So what's your limiting resource, or what do you need? What's the one or number two things that you need more of to get to the 5,000 bikes goal?
Mechanics.
Right.
But we can always use more bikes. We can always, listen, we had for a while, we had a great system that was totally in balance. We got as many as we needed to repair. And then for a while, we actually got some very generous grants, and we supplemented it with new bikes that customers and volunteers assembled. But that's gotten, particularly with supply chain and tariffs and things like that, that's gotten really expensive, and our capacity has grown to do that. But yes, bikes and volunteers. And then, like I said, we're very efficient with every dollar, but the more bikes we give away, the more dollars we.
At some point, space there's a problem. So it might require more space. We're fortunate where we are that the prep side can work outside. They're shaded for the whole morning, so they can be outside doing their work. If we had to house all that, we would need quite a bit more. We could go to multiple shifts, try to get, you know, so that we could get time to fix the bike to go get for 5,000. But it's going to be a challenge. With the process we have now and the space we've got now.
I mean,
It's possible we get there, we just have.
Yeah.
We didn't think we'd get to this one,
right.
you know, at this point, but, not. Like I said, it really depends. The bikes, we was talking about bringing bikes in. I mean, a lot of the bikes we get, we saw what the preppers do. You think, oh, I mean, these bikes, some of them are so, they're barn finds, well, you know, so they've been in the field for 15 years. And somebody will come in and go, I think if you just probably might need a tube or something, you know, I'm looking at this thing, oh, I think it's gonna be, you know, somebody's time for, you know, at least a couple shifts. Although we now are doing a buddy system to help with some of that, because there's a lot of rust and things that we had to try to deal with on these bikes that come in. So, but that's an interesting question, and I think about it. And we have looked at some other properties recently when we thought we might want to shift to reduce the keep our costs down on rent. But it still wasn't, it wouldn't suit us for what we needed to do. You can't count on being outside all the time. But, like I said, I try to tell them, it never rains down where we were at Freewheels. And very rarely do we have to stop because of rain. It's interesting, but,
It's morning work, right?
Yeah, but
Morning work, afternoon, you get rain, so that.
yeah, we'd have to be much more, we have to do a lot more across the whole board to get to that.
so I have to tell you, I don't remember all of the numbers, but I can tell you that in 2021, August of 2021 is when there was the evacuation of 70,000 Afghans, the fall of Kabul. That year, we gave bikes to 190 people. The next year, we gave bikes to 450 people. We've had double-digit years every year. More recently, we went from 700 to 780, and this year, there's a chance we could hit 1,000. So we're, like I said, double-digit growth is what we've been able to accomplish organically and staying all volunteer.
Wow. I just lost 15 pounds and the rest of my hair. It's all close to me.
So thank you very much. Thank you for all your. Please keep writing for us.
Yes.